Hello, welcome to the Thursday, April 4th, 2019 edition of the SANS Internet Storm Center's Stormcast. My name is Johannes Ulrich and today I'm recording from Jacksonville, Florida. Today we got a diary by Jim, one of our handlers who is into reverse analysis of malware. He's actually also teaching a SANS class about this, and his diary is about how Hydra, the tool that the NSA recently released, compares to IDA, which is probably the most common tool that people use these days in order to reverse malware. He will actually make a little bit serious out of these posts. In this first one, he's talking about how to get Hydra to provide you with some of the details regarding Windows API calls, which is a feature that Jim likes a lot in IDA. And yes, you can have Hydra do similar things. And of course, it's less than 2 weeks to the final tax filing deadline in the US. And this year, according to some reports, the tax filing season is going to be a little bit more confusing and painful for a lot of people due to all the changes in the tax code last year. So no surprise, the bad guys are trying to capitalize on this. As usual, there is a good uptick in IRS and tax-related phishing emails. Proofpoint has a nice collection of various phishing emails that they have seen. They also round out the list of examples with some non-US based phishing attempts. So some for Canadian tax authorities, French, I think I've seen some, and British. This is of course an international problem with phishing. And you'll probably find some good material in this Proofpoint post to include in your own awareness presentations. Now, talking about security awareness, the SANS Securing the Human project came out with its monthly Ouch newsletter. This is again the newsletter that you can share with your less technical friends and colleagues. This time it's about passwords, so picking good passwords, passphrases, two-factor authentication, and the like. And two things that really shouldn't go together are 550 million records of Facebook users and an unsecured Amazon S3 bucket. But apparently Cultura Collectiva, a company that came out with a game called At the Pool that then sort of ceased operations a couple of years ago, had exposed just such a thing to the public. And UpGuard, a company that's looking for data repositories like this, came across it. The bucket did include 540 million records. And now there was, of course, varying amounts of details here, but essentially when you signed up for this At the Pool app, you gave this company access to your Facebook profile and they essentially copied it into this S3 bucket. Another problem here was that UpGuard found it quite difficult to actually have this problem remediated. They notified Cultura Collectiva back in January, did get no response. They got a response from Amazon, but Amazon basically just told them that they notified the owner, and it took the immediate release of this article to have the data finally secured or removed. While Amazon does provide some assistance to its users to prevent problems like this, Amazon typically doesn't see it as their responsibility to secure data for the user. And in some ways, of course, they don't know what they would break if they're blocking access to data like this. And the Postgres database added an interesting new feature in version 9.3, which allows you to actually copy to and from a command on the operating system. So instead of just reading files and writing files to the operating system, a user with the read server file privilege is now actually able to execute operating system commands. But of course, by giving the user access to execute commands as the database user, you're essentially providing the user with super user access to the database. And the initial intent of these read server files and write server files roles was actually to separate those privileges somewhat, so to give limited privileges to users to read and write files in order to not have to make them all administrators. So if you upgraded Postgres to 9.3, double check if any of your users do have this read server files privilege that don't actually need it, because it now comes with some dangerous new powers. Well, and that's it for today. So thanks again for listening, and talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.